So, my goal is to create warm and inviting spaces for people to come to relax their mind, to feel good in their bodies, and most importantly, to understand themselves and to honor themselves and to connect with their mind, body, and spirit. So, what drew me to wellness is just my own life circumstances. I was in a space that was overwhelming. It was depressing. It was a space of, hold on, it was feeling completely disconnected from myself. And so I wasn't happy with any aspect of my life, and I knew I needed a change. And I just started to become very inquisitive. I started to read books. I started to ask questions. I started to go online. And from there, I was led to this path of wellness and spirituality. So it brought me down a path of yoga, of meditation, of self discovery, of shadow work, all of the things embodying wellness. My own practice is extremely important when it comes to working with other people because although I am an instructor, I'm a guide, I'm a lead, I cannot do that if I do not practice. I cannot connect with people in a real way if I do not put in the time to actually practice. And also, when you are out of alignment, when you are disconnected from yourself, it's hard for you to relate to other people in a real way. It's hard to be an authority in wellness, such as yoga and Reiki, for example. You have to be fully cleansed mentally, spiritually, physically in order to connect with people, to help people, to follow your intuition, to guide and lead. So it is extremely, extremely important to practice yourself. That is a must. You have to do that. Otherwise, you won't be able to lead properly. You won't be able to see other people. You won't be able to guide in the way that's connected and real and genuine. And most importantly, with the purpose of wellness. Before I began working with the class, I am very nervous. I still get nervous to this day, even though I've taught a lot of classes in different spaces and with different people and different platforms. Um, at the end of the day, I try to focus on the goal. And ask myself, what is the goal for this class? Who's in my class? Kind of notice who's coming, if there's someone new that I don't know. So it helps me to formulate my introduction. It helps me to stay on task with my goal, and really just making sure I can guide them in a way that they leave feeling refreshed and relaxed and connected to themselves and feeling comfortable to recognize wellness within themselves and the world around them. So, no, I don't think I have to have everything figured out. That's not possible. It's almost like being a perfectionist because everyone is different. Every situation is different. Every class is different. You want to pay attention to who's in your class and adjust accordingly. Sometimes it may be someone with an injury, so you want to adjust. Sometimes, and I have one particular class. Um, I think it's a yoga and wine class that I have, and sometimes my ladies just like to come and just vent for the day. And that's a part of yoga. It's not always just movement, it's about connection. It's about allowing your mind to rest from your workload that you just finished. And so sometimes, based off of what they tell me and what I feel, we'll have a moment to sit in a sister circle and talk versus move. So you don't always know what it's going to look like. So Preparing for a class can be difficult at times. It's just like any other position or job. You're moving, you're going, you're thinking about how you can show up in a real way. Again, it's a task. It's something that I want to do well. So your mind is going as well, not just you physically trying to grab all of your instruments and your materials, your props, but also mentally you're thinking about how you can show up for all of these people that are coming to see you. So I think it's just about being very intentional about slowing down. Um, what I like to do is just allot 30 minutes prior to me leaving to sit still, to connect to myself, to do some breath work, all of these different wellness tools that I use to slow down, to slow down. And in that, it helps you to gain more confidence. It helps you to give yourself grace as well. And then to also prepare to move into that space of slowness, of guidance, of teaching. So I think it's just about being intentional, making a strong effort to slow down, to connect with yourself, to give yourself grace before you actually show up in the world and guide people. So, whenever I'm just feeling disconnected, I'm not myself or frustrated, what guides me is the Most High, is God, the divine source. And that usually plays out in tapping into things that I can grab easily. Meaning, when I think about God, I think about the Most High. I know I am a reflection of that. So, connecting to myself is what I go to when I'm stressed. Connecting to speaking life and prayer is what I do when I'm stressed. Gratitude is what I go to when I'm stressed. Nature and different other wellness tools like the aromatherapy or sound healing, things like that I go to. So all of those things that I'm mentioning are a reflection to me of the Most High, and that's what I always go to. As a mother, as a wife, as a guide, as a teacher, oftentimes you are being of service to everyone else. For me, having all of those titles, it was depleting at times. And so in that depletion, in falling in those moments, I realized that I not only have to be of service to other people, but most importantly, I have to be of service to myself. I have to take care of myself because I can't fulfill those roles if I'm not well. So I can't pour from an empty cup. So in those moments of falling, of feeling depleted and overwhelmed and just giving and giving and giving, I learned that I have to give even more to myself. Um, it's just imperative to pour into yourself so that you can naturally and organically and effortlessly pour into others just by being you. So that's the beauty of it. When you pour into yourself, when you study, when you practice, whatever you need to do to make you feel well, that overflow flows to them naturally with ease because you're being yourself. They're watching, your moves. They're paying attention to everything that you do. When I'm pouring into myself and making my juices or doing breath work or playing my sound bowls, everybody can hear, and it's in turn helping them as well. So for example, in one of my classes, if there is a goal to stay grounded in this practice, meaning stay low to the ground, connect to earth, connect to yourself, I'm going to build a yoga sequence, basically yoga poses that allow us to find that groundness. That means I'm not going to be moving fast throughout the entire time. It's not a workout. Now, those are great yoga classes too. You can do power yoga and hot yoga, all of those things to really build heat in the body. But if I want to center my class today and ground, I'm going to make sure the poses that I choose, the postures that I choose, the mudras and the affirmations, everything that I say, really, it helps to influence this grounded space. So more than likely, my postures are going to be more closer to the ground. We're going to connect our hearts to the ground, our head to the ground, our hands, which are energy portals, to the ground. So building a sequence is just about building a flow. How are we opening up our class? We're moving and reaching that intention, and then bringing the class back down, closing and centering, so that they can end the class as they started. So the sequence is just a yoga flow of whatever my intention is, whether it's through movement or meditation or breath work or gathering, whatever it is, it's just building an agenda for the class. I heard a quote one time, and it said that rest is a prerequisite. It's not a reward. And that stuck with me. And I'm like, wow, that's so true. I really need to give myself permission to rest. It's okay to rest. I think right now we're so used to the hustle and bustle and moving and going and paying bills and being here for the kids and doing all the things that we embody in life. But to me, from what I've learned through my practice, is that I'm the most successful when I slow down, when I rest. I can, again, just hear myself. I can build my intuition. I can build my confidence through prayer, through meditation, through moving my body, and allowing the breath to flow through me with ease. So all of those things help me when I choose to actually slow down, when I choose to rest. So giving yourself permission is just simply doing, is taking action, not to move, but to slow down. I believe a session is successful based on the interaction I have with my participants after class. Obviously, hearing that it was a great class, getting good feedback is beautiful. You always want to hear that. That's always great. But also when they return back to class, so you know they had a good time. The courage that it takes for me throughout my journey, that it takes to lead a class, to stand up in front of a class, to speak in front of a class. That's not something that came easy for me. I did not want to get in front of a crowd or a group of people. I never thought I could lead in this way. I just didn't think it was me. But I'm proud of the courage to overcome. Like I said previously, I still get nervous before each class because I want to do well. I want to show up. I want to be of service to people. Um, but when that class is over, I always feel better. I always feel better every single time, even when I don't want to show up sometimes, I always feel better every single time. And I'm proud of myself for stepping into this purpose that I didn't choose. I don't want it. I would rather be in a studio painting somewhere by myself. But that's not my calling. My calling is to bring people together, is to share the magic and the divine within all of us. So it's not an easy thing to do, but I think the courage is what keeps me going. It what makes me the most happy. And then also just seeing other people feel the change within them. Taking one day at a time just looks like mindfulness. It means to be present with yourself, not worrying about the past or worrying about the future, worrying about what happened yesterday or what may happen tomorrow. Is really, to me, just about being present with where you are, being grateful for where you are, and accepting that, enjoying the things that you are doing on this day. I think when we can do that, it brings more gratitude in our lives, less stress, less anxiety. And so, one day at a time is using our senses to stay present. To me, it's paying attention to what we hear right now, I hear water running. How beautiful is that? Because if we just sit and listen, it's calming. Paying attention to what we see, what we feel. Are we in the moment? Because a lot of times we're doing something, but we're already thinking about the next thing that we need to do. But if we're just present and focusing on what we're doing, to me, it's more rewarding. You're just relieving a lot of stress and worry. So just be mindful of where you are. Gratitude is the biggest takeaway for me when we take it one day at a time. We have this day. That's a blessing, a blessing, I should say. Um, so yeah, we just gotta be grateful for every day that we have. One, I think that most people think yoga is just movement, it's exercise, which is not true from my experience. It's more of a holistic embodiment of self. So yes, it involves movement, but it also involves our thinking. It involves being still and sitting with yourself through meditation. It involves breath work. It also involves shadow work. It involves creativity. So, yoga means to join. And for me, that is a holistic meaning of coming to yourself in any form, in any way that looks. So, sometimes it can be through exercise and movement because we're moving the breath, we're manipulating the breath, but it can also be in other forms. So, a yoga class could look like a lot of postures and exercise, but it can also look like a class of journaling. It can also look like a sister circle. It can also look like a dance session. So, as long as we are embodying and joining together all of those elements of the mind, body, and spirit. So I think that's the biggest conception, that it is one way, it's one size fits all, it's this particular person that does yoga, and it's just not true. It's For me, yoga is for everyone. So, as a guide, I am still learning a lot of things. I think the most important thing is to give myself grace because I am in a wellness space, the spiritual space. I should have all the answers, right? I should have the tools I need, but I have to recognize that I'm human, that I have feelings, that I feel. I'm a very emotional being, and I'm proud of it. So sometimes I'm not always going to be okay. And so sometimes that can bring on imposter syndrome because you lead other people to guide them back to themselves. But sometimes I don't know how to do that for myself. So again, it's just giving myself the space to move through it. I know how to do it, but it just may take me some time, and that's okay because I'm human. You know, I know my intention is to love anyone and everyone and everything. So eventually, I'm going to get there. So I think what I'm learning is just to be okay with where I am and to honor what I have achieved, even though, it may not look like anyone else in the same space. I'm comfortable with me. So that's the biggest takeaway. Some advice I would give to someone who's dealing with a lot of pressure. I guess I would say just to connect, connect to yourself in whatever way that looks. What makes you feel good? What puts a smile on your face? What makes you feel fulfilled? Go directly to that. Take action. Don't allow yourself to sit in it. Allow your thoughts to take over your reality because when we think it, it becomes. So I would encourage people to take action toward the outcome that they want. And it could be something as simple as just getting up and taking a deep breath. It could be something as simple as going to take a walk. It could be something as simple as writing down what you're grateful for. Um, just take action, move out of that situation, out of that stress, out of that pressure. Seek gratitude and just try to follow the feeling that you really do want. We don't want to be stressed. We don't want pressure. We don't want heaviness or feeling overwhelmed. But what we do want is joy and peace and abundance and success and creativity and love. So, what small action can you take to grab a hold of that in those moments?